I've just been down to Memphis town. That's where the people smile on you all the while. Hospitality, they were good to me. I couldn't spend a dime and had the grandest time. I went out a-dancing with a Tennessee deer. They had a fella there named Handy with a band you could hear. And while the white folks gently swayed, all them darkies played real harmony. I never will forget the tune that Handy called them.
To hide a horse is related to a dream that I had just a few months ago that brought about a horse. So I just decided to do my whole concept around this dream, which was actually a nightmare. It started with me going on a trip with my boyfriend Sammy. We were gonna go towards Yosemite and just stay in a house over there. It was kind of like a Western type setting, even though Yosemite is more of like a trees, green setting. For some reason, I just remember it being desertic, and I think it's because on the way there from here, there's a lot of just dry land. Kind of ran with the Western theme within my sculpture and used this yellow and brown color. I decided to do this necklace actually based off of that sculpture, so it kind of goes hand in hand with one another, and in a way I'm tied into my piece. On the way there, we were riding a horse, which was actually Sammy's horse. He doesn't have a horse in real life, but we were riding this horse all the way there instead of taking a car. I know that's kind of weird, but you know how it is in dreams, like nothing really makes sense. We were just having a great time, just cruising along the desertic lands on a horse, excited to go on this trip. Eventually we reached the house in which we were staying at, and it was just this really large house that was giving me a bit of an eerie feeling within the dream, but I remember just ignoring it and choosing to be present and just have fun. The form of my sculpture follows the form of this house, which was submarine inspired and had a few windows, so I left a few square cutouts within the form of my sculpture just to mimic the form of this house. By the time we arrived, it was also starting to get kind of dark out. Sammy and I were a little bit worried about the horse because obviously it couldn't be inside the house, so we had to tie him up outside in this little like square wooden area that was right outside in this little smaller hill. We were a little bit scared to leave him there because we had heard that the neighbor was weird and he was strange. The house of the neighbor was right next to this little enclosed area that we were gonna leave the horse in. I also remember just Sammy telling me specifically that he had a really uneasy feeling with leaving the horse here, and it made him really uncomfortable. So what I did was that I rummaged through my bag. I was holding this bag with all my things in it, and I was looking for something that I could use to hide the horse. I found this little Ziploc bag, but it was like kind of dark, so it wasn't see-through. That was kind of perfect for me in the dream, even though it was so small. But in the dream I was like, perfect, this is gonna do the job. So what I did while Sammy was just inside is I was trying to fit this horse in this small bag so that the neighbor wouldn't see the horse there and he'd be safe. And eventually I ended up doing it. I ended up being successful, and I left the horse there in the bag and just carried on with my night. I went back into the house. All all night was just kind of a rough night. I remember just waking up a few times throughout the night and noticing that Sammy wasn't even sleeping. Like, he just was too worried, so he wasn't getting any sleep. Just amongst one of these times of waking up, it was from just a really loud bang, just something like a gunshot, and all of a sudden the neighbor just barges into our house and in a panic just says, "Do not go outside. You do not want to go outside. Just whatever you do, don't go outside." And he runs back outside. Sammy and I just immediately think about the horse and our horse's safety. So we run outside and the horse is missing. The horse is just gone. The only thing that remains there is the little bag that I had tried to fit him in. From night to dawn, we look for the horse all around. We're walking around the desertic area, just night and day, nothing, no horse. And eventually it's time to go back to where we came from because the trip is over, and we figure that we're not going to find the horse. So we take this motorcycle all the way back down this single road highway. I remember Sammy just being really upset and just really sad about the horse missing. We drive and drive until we reach a diner, and I remember in the midst of just trying to make Sammy feel better about the horse, I just suggest that we get chocolate chip pancakes. And I'm just like, "Oh, should we get chocolate chip pancakes? Like, yum." And the first thing he says in reply to me is, "We need to break up. Like, this is not gonna work. It's over." And I just immediately start bawling my eyes out. The way that I create art is, I think, very descriptive of the way that I view the world. So even though a lot of times there's a sad undertone or a sad concept or just something that I've been struggling through within my subconscious, my pieces show that I'm more of an optimist in a way, and I like to see the beauty in things, the color in things. I'm intrigued by a lot of things. I think there's always a way out and always just something that will resolve whatever it is you are going through. And this piece, I guess, is just an addition to that.